30.
Right. Remember this American hero?
Neil Young.
Who we're propping up to use?
I don't want to be a part of this anymore, and wrote a letter to Spotify saying the company had to choose between him
and also
Rogan.
He's so fucking old. He wrote a letter.
I know. Yeah, right.
He put the stamp. Neil Young's like, let me put the stamp on I'm gonna send this in the mail. Spotify, please respond. And then this old geezer jumped in. Oh, here's my chance to be relevant. Let me step up before I die.
Here's a merfolk wearing a dress. It's like, take my music off Spotify.
For those of you guys just listening, is this Joni Mitchell that they were talking about?
This is Joni. No, this is a merfolk. What are you talking about?
Joni Mitchell looks
some kind of mythical fish creature.
They put a woman who is 125 on the screen for us to marvel at.
I've heard of Joe Rogan. He's a stand-up comic, an ultimate fighting commentator. He's the former host of a show on NBC where contestant ate bugs and did all kinds of crazy things. He's now
I know, we're both trying to pause already. The belittling just from the get-go.
Yes.
Just from the get-go.
Joe Rogan hosted a show where people ate bugs, and now people trust his voice. Oh, he's not an elitist like me. I'm an elite journalist. How dare he get so much more viewers than I do? I never made people eat bugs.
Joe Rogan had a working class upbringing, definitely.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Joe Rogan went on Jordan Peterson's podcast, and they both talked about their upbringing pretty in depth. I don't remember much of it, but I do remember being working class. A lot of the people going after Joe Rogan definitely don't have the working class cred. That's for sure.
And it's funny because you looked into this, which I didn't even think to look into.
Mm-hmm.
The lady who really drew attention to this is that singer whose name escapes me, Aria Indigo or whatever, who I think is a fucking piece of shit. And I think it's ironic that her Twitter banner is something like, she says, India Aria. Her Twitter banner says, artist and explorer on a mission to spread love, healing, peace, and joy through words and music. And she got herself doing like the fucking yoga pose, like she's some hippie. I'm like, fuck you, bitch. You're not spreading love, healing, peace, and joy by trying to get Joe Rogan canceled. And it's funny because she was actually trying to get him canceled before the N-word stuff.
Really?
It was mostly, if you look at like the timeline, the order of events of her complaining about Joe Rogan, it was like back before the N-word video stuff came out. And it was because she's just mad that he's getting paid so much more money than her.
Yeah.
She's like, why is it fair that as an artist, I only get like cents on the dollar for people listening to my songs, but Joe Rogan gets $100 billion? This is unfair. Like, this is her motivation. Here.
There's this little thing called watch time. Let me explain it.
Yeah. Well, and also this whole thing about like who's I'm sorry, India Aria, but your existence is not drawing people to the platform the way Joe Rogan's existence is. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
But the funny thing is that you looked into her background.
I know.
And she's the daughter of a famous NBA player, and mother was like a Motown, like a famous or somewhat famous Motown singer.
Right. Who opened for Stevie Wonder
and
Al
Green.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's obviously come from money and privilege. And it's so ironic to see a black female who systemically is like the most oppressed person in the world, yet personally on an individual level had way more privilege, way more wealth growing up than Joe Rogan, who did come from a lower income working class background. But because he's white and male, like suddenly, you can't appreciate that he, climbed from a position of lesser privilege and power to a position of more privilege and power.
Yeah. You know what they call this? It's called racism, Sitch.
Right.
Most known for a popular podcast he hosts. What started as casual conversation with his friends back in 2009 has become a real hit by any metric. And in fact, in 2020, Rogan signed
I want to point out the
smug demeanor,
the artistic choices here. Okay,
right.
So first, we have a picture of Joe Rogan looking crazy.
Hey, what's wrong with that picture? I use that in the thumbnail.
I know, But this is look. They're like, let's get the picture of Joe with the bug eyes. This is the picture we're going to use. Okay. And then the next picture, they're like, look, he's got an alien head, like right in the middle of the frame. He's talking about aliens. He's a crazy person.
Right.
Like, it's so blatant. So blatant.
Yeah, propaganda. They're propagandists.
Yep.
Any metric. And in fact, in 2020, Rogan signed a $100 million deal that gave the streaming service Spotify exclusive rights to his show. And the show now reaches an estimated 11 million listeners per episode. I gotta say, I've listened to Rogan. I personally found episodes of the show fascinating and interesting. He's a strange but good interviewer. He covers all sorts of stuff. But Rogan has repeatedly made racist, sexist, anti-trans comments on his show. He's increasingly embraced the right-wing anti-vax.
Wait, what were the rate? Oh my God. He just goes through the litany. Joe Rogan's a racist transphobe.
Racist, sexist, homophobe. Yeah.
And you know what's interesting too? If you look at these quote unquote articles, none of them are from even mainstream sources. You've got two.
They are. Holy shit.
You got two magazines I've never fucking heard of. The Advocate and Complex. Right. I don't know what these are.
They both have the same logo. Look at that.
You're right. I wonder. Wait a minute.
They're very into the impact font.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the same thing. Maybe that's not the name of the magazine.
Screams AstroTurf. Joe Rogan. So the headlines are: Joe Rogan continues to spew anti-trans rhetoric on his Spotify podcast. Complex says Joe Rogan says it's very strange to call someone black unless someone black unless person is 100% African from the darkest place. Did he? What was that said?
No, it's out of context. That's from the Jordan Peterson conversation.
Joe Rogan comments on Angelina Jolie's genitals.
Oh my God. I brought up. Oh my God! I didn't look at this until just a second.
What was the Angelina Jolie's genitals? I got to.
I don't know about that. I have no clue what that is. But I brought up this. Joe Rogan continues to spew anti-trans rhetoric from this Advocate magazine, which is a gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer news site.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
The subtitle under it is a picture of Joe Rogan. Right under it says, the podcast host, who is joined by right-wing provocateur Jordan Peterson, suggests trans people are evidence of societal collapse. Mm-hmm. Which is not what he said. Mm-hmm. Oh, and look at this. Oh no, okay, they didn't do the full lie. They said on January 25th, Rogan hosted Jordan Peterson, retired Canadian psychology professor turned right-wing provocateur, who posited that being trans is both a sociological contagion and similar to the now debunked satanic panic in the 1980s.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that doesn't incorporate the lie. It's so weird that you have to agree with them on every single thing. Otherwise, you're a right-wing provocateur.
Right.
No, I just disagree with you on this one issue.
This is where, and I hate this, it's so despicable. And this is the tactic. They're like, we need this. We want to smear. Chris Hayes is like, okay, I want to smear Joe Rogan as a transphobe and a racist. Mm-hmm. Grab me some headlines. And so it's
of course.
It's like whenever there's any fucking rag anywhere out there in the world that can put whatever crazy shit they want in the headline, they can just post it.
Yeah.
And say, see, people are saying that you're racist. See, people are saying you're transphobe. There's some article written by who the fuck knows who on who the fuck knows what publication. So therefore, it must be true.
Yeah. Journalistic standards have dropped to nothing. To zero. Zero. This is why the context has changed so much, because journalistic standards, they can literally lie to every single person just on a lark. It's awful.
Oh my God. I looked up a picture of the lady that wrote the anti-Joe Rogan is transphobe article.
Oh no. Should we bring it up?
It's literally the stereotype.
Where's the creativity?
I can't even believe it's literally the stereotype. Like down to a T. It's shocking. I wouldn't have believed this was a real. I would have thought this was like a troll picture. It's like the pink hair, the big red lipstick. You know what I'm talking about. It's like it's the exact image in your mind you have of like the woke crybaby SJW from 2016.
Ouch.
It's crazy. Anyways.
Let's move on.
COVID skeptic platform, including suggesting President Biden did not actually get a booster shot on live TV because he could have died or blacked out. He's given friendly interviews to people.
I mean, is it anyone who's worked in show business knows that that's valid speculation?
That is valid speculation.
What the fuck? Chris Hayes knows that's a lie.
Right.
Of course. Come on.
Well, and also if you notice, all these besides the LGBT ones, all these articles are coming from Media Matters. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is a political
dissemination. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a political propaganda and hit piece manufacturing machine.
Right. Yes.
That's its role. That's literally its designed role.
Yes. Smear Republicans.
Yep. People spreading just wildly wrong and dangerous misinformation about COVID. It got to a point where rock icon Neil Young said...
Oh, now he's the rock icon. Notice the voice change. It's all dour when he's talking about Joe Rogan. Now it's like, oh, rock icon. This guy who we all love.
Remember this guy that you've maybe never heard of unless you're over the age of 30.
Right. Remember this American hero?
Neil Young.
Who we're propping up to use?
I don't want to be part of this anymore, and wrote a letter to Spotify saying the company had to choose between him
and also
Rogan.
He's so fucking old. He wrote a letter.
I know. Yeah, right.
He put the stamp. Neil Young's like, let me put the stamp on my. I'm gonna send this in the mail. Spotify, please respond within 7 business days, or you will hear from my attorney.
No, but it annoys me because like Joe Rogan said very dangerous things about the vaccine, COVID. It's like, well, what did he say, Chris? I mean, if we're gonna get out the think about
very
how this
dangerous
is
things.
Right. Think about how this is structured. This is a piece designed to get Chris's audience to pull out the torches and to burn Joe Rogan at the stake.
Right.
And yet he doesn't feel it's necessary to explain what exactly Joe Rogan said that's so bad.
Did you ever watch 300? You said you.
But isn't that terrifying?
It is terrifying. Did you rewatch 300?
I did not rewatch.
Okay, you gotta. 300 is an amazing movie. I can't believe you don't like that movie. But this is exactly the scene in the Senate when the fucking manipulative motherfucking politician steps up, and he's told everyone he's going to do one thing, and then he does the complete opposite. Lies to everyone, fucks everyone over.
Right.
This is exactly what Chris Hayes is doing. He's just a fucking lying snake in the grass.
Apparently in 1985, I don't know if Neil Young ever apologized for this.
Oh no, they're digging up shit on him.
Neil Young said it's scary. It is scary. You go to a supermarket and you see a F slur behind the cash register, and you don't want him to handle your potatoes.
Oh, because the AIDS.
He said
crisis.
This in reference to AIDS and catching AIDS from gay people.
Yeah, of course. You want to play this game? Go ahead and play this game, especially if you're famous, because famous people have been being recorded, for time immemorial. You go ahead and play this game. Play this game. Go ahead. See how it ends.
Well, and it's also so funny because it's like you have all these people who, were these rockers or hippies who are all so anti, fight the power, fight the machine, fight the man. And now that they're old, they're like, oh, how dare you fight the man? How dare you be controversial? How dare you buck the system?
It's so true. All of them. I'm revoking all of their artist cards. I don't look at Neil Young as an artist anymore.
No.
Pathetic. Yeah. He's a guitar technician.
There you go.
Before removing music from the streaming service. So Spotify chose Rogan. They took his songs down.
And then this old geezer jumped in. Oh, here's my chance to be relevant. Let me step up before I die.
Here's a merfolk wearing a dress. It's like, take my music off Spotify.
For those of you guys just listening, is this Joni Mitchell that they were talking about?
This is Joni. No, this is a merfolk. What are you talking about?
Joni Mitchell looks
some
like
kind of mythical fish creature.
They put a woman who is 125 on the screen for us to marvel at.
This looks like a fish creature from a Zelda game. Okay, I don't know.
Joni Mitchell called up and said, "Listen, I'm already worth $1 billion here. Take my music off of your platform. I don't want to be on MySpace anymore. Joni, it's Spotify. MySpace isn't around anymore. I don't care. Take my music off your stupid computer.
Take it off the internet entirely. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. I want it put in my casket. I want to be buried with it."
Then legendary singer-songwriter Joni Mitchell.
Oh, of course, Joni Mitchell's like, "Oh, do you want to get a picture with my COVID mask on? Look. Look, you can get one for the newspaper."
We're being very mean to Joni
to show that I wear my COVID mask just like everyone told me to do.
There you go.
Joni Mitchell, they have they chose a picture of Joni Mitchell in a COVID mask because it's a COVID related story. There's a bazillion pictures of Joni Mitchell. They don't need one of her in the COVID mask.
How come? Look at this. I didn't even realize this, so I'll look it up now. Joni Mitchell and fuckface, whose name I've already forgotten. Neil Young, both Canadians.
Really? They're not even American?
Get your Canadians out of my American platform, demanding good Americans like Joe Rogan be removed. Get your Canadian. Yeah. Look, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. We need to invade Canada. Okay. There's too many negative cultural influences coming across our northern border that we need to deal with.
Is that Canada with a population less than the state of California? That's Canada, right. Is that what we're talking about?
That's what we're talking about.
That little backwater state.
That little tiny backwater state. Listen, Canada, you all know that you all want to be part of America. Think about it this way. Instead of calling it Canada, we should call it the USAA. The United States of America adjacent.
That's good.
That's the USA and it's the USAA.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Joni Mitchell
followed suit. She said, quote, "Irresponsible people are spreading lies that are costing people their lives." And so after weeks of sustained pressure and a rapidly falling stock price, Spotify has now announced they're going...
Oh, he even threw the rapidly falling stock price in there.
He threw the stock price line in, yeah.
I'm sure half of his family is investment bankers, so he knows that's a big fat lie.
Going to put a content warning on Joe Rogan's podcast. And Rogan, who is clearly spooked, posted this nearly...
Oh, you like that mind reading? Rogan. Clearly spooked. First of all,
why would he do that? Why would he...
Listen, Chris, considering this N-word thing, I cannot believe you just
I
used
know.
that word.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Terrible.
10-minute video on Instagram basically says, sure, we get lots of stuff wrong, but we're just talking here.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a person who sits down and talks to people and has conversations with them. Do I get something wrong in finding out 8 inch?
Yeah. It's bizarre too, because the argument that he's making here, you're on a fucking news station, Chris Hayes. How about you get it right? How about you don't throw those little jabs in and you don't talk about how Spotify stock tanked because of Joe Rogan, okay? Tesla stock tanked too, and it wasn't because of Joe Rogan, okay? Fucking Facebook stock cratered 28%. You think it's because of Joe Rogan? And
I mean, we covered Chris. He was peddling all sorts of crazy misinformation about Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh, exactly. Totally. He's just having a conversation. Somehow the big dope Joe Rogan gets the whole Kyle Rittenhouse situation right. How come you couldn't? How come you couldn't, Chris Hayes? We figured it out the night it happened.
Where's the reckoning for the Kyle Rittenhouse misinformation, for the constant misinformation about police shootings to make there was some poll that was like the majority of people that voted for Biden are Democrats.
Oh, I know. I saw that.
Thought that 1,000 black people or over 1,000.
It was
black
worse.
People,
it was like 10,000.
Yeah, they thought like 1,000 or 10,000 unarmed black people were killed by the police in
each year.
2020. Yeah, it's like what? 1,000, 10,000? It's like try like 15. Okay.
Yes.
It's low double digits. Like, well, get the fuck out of here.
There's like 900 officer involved shootings a year.
Right. It's like there's way more police officers that die every year.
Oh, than, too.
Unarmed.
Yeah.
Unarmed black men killed by the police.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But it's just this constant. If we just talk about the story again and again, every time a story comes up, we'll talk about it and we'll make people think it's like happening everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris Hayes is a dirty smear merchant.
I mean, I remember Chris Hayes during Michael Brown trial. I remember Chris Hayes right after Michael Brown died. Mm-hmm. And there was that fake narrative about, he had his hands up. Mm-hmm. And Chris Hayes was standing there like in that neighborhood with his little bulletproof vest on and a little helmet that said press on it. And he's like sitting there like waiting for the riot to happen. He's just salivating, waiting for like the fires to start so they can show them on TV. That
singer that pulled her music that we just talked about with the NBA dad and the famous singer mom.
Aria Indigo or India Aria or whatever her name is.
She has a song that is basically like a hands up, don't shoot song.
Really?
A Michael Brown Black Lives Matter song.
Oh no.
Yeah. She's in on the grift.
That's terrible. But doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Joy. So if I pissed you off, I'm sorry. And if you enjoy the podcast, thank you.
Rogan promised to do better, mostly failed to address his own comments that have undermined confidence in vaccines and spread outside like wild conspiracy theories.
He's such a fucking fucker.
He failed to address his comment.
This is so insidious. That's so insidious. How do these, I guess this is, I mean, I compare it to religion all the time, but I picture people in their homes watching this stuff. This is their narrative about the world. It's like the Christians believe sin is everywhere and they believe racism is everywhere. I just have to turn on the TV and listen to the nice preacher tell me about, this evil racism that we're forced to live under, this evil COVID misinformation, these evil Republicans trying to kill everyone because they just don't care about anyone but themselves. The selfishness in the world.
And no, definitely. And it's scary because I know that people who are like my parents' age, they just watch this and they just assume this is all true.
Reality. Yes.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think most people have, a son somewhere out there they can go call up and be like, Sitch, I saw on the news that Joe Rogan was an evil racist. I had to be like, well, hold on.
I just noticed the framing in the Chiron. It literally says misinformation sickness.
Yeah.
This is something we need to cure.
Right.
This is a problem that we're having. It's old Joe Rogan stealing all of our viewers away.
On MSNBC every night.
Yeah. Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.